In this episode of Ask Bloop, I talk about whether or not do you need to be able to draw to make 3D animation, ideal storylines for an animated short, and how to spot an amateur demo reel. Cooper Gaming asks, do you need art to get into 3D animation? So when you say art, I assume you're talking about traditional drawing skills. And the answer is no. For 3D animation, you don't need to have great art skills or drawing skills. Of course, it helps if you know figure drawing and you can understand good posing and good composition. All these skills will definitely help you when you do 3D animation. But the thing is with 3D animation is that the way you do the animation is not by drawing at all. It's mostly by moving controls around in a 3D program. So it's more like if you had a puppet and you just move its hands and its legs a little bit. So it's more like stop motion in a way, only in 3D. So there's just absolutely no drawing that is needed. And again, I'll say that if you have drawing skills or 2D animation experience, it's going to make your animation better and it's going to help you. But it's not necessary for that. Avnik asks, what is the ideal story outline for an animated short? There's no one ideal outline for animated shorts. It could be very different things. I've seen very different kinds of animated shorts. What I would suggest for a beginner who's making his first animated short, and that's something I still try to implement in my shorts, is to keep it very short, not try to do over 2 minutes. For your first film, I would even try to do it under 1 minute. Going over 2 minutes is insane for your first try, especially if because you're probably going to be doing most of it yourself. If you have a team and some budget, then you can probably go over that. But I would try to keep it to that. Another thing I would try to keep in mind is do it no more than 2 characters. So keep it under 2 minutes. Don't use more than 2 characters. And the third rule is try to keep it in one location. That way you only have to model that one location. You only have to have 2 characters. And the reason I say 2 characters and not 1 character is that there's not a lot of story that you can do with 1 character. There is some stuff you can do, but most stories happen with 2 characters or more. So that I would say is the minimum you need to have a successful short. Philip asks, what is one example of an amateur that's noticeable when they show their 2D animation reel? Hey Philip, I can't really say much about 2D animation because that's not what I do. I deal with 3D animation. So I'm going to just change your question and respond to a 3D animator's demo reel. How would you notice an amateur demo reel? And I think the thing that sticks out the most for me with amateur animators is too much computer interpolation. So basically, if you know anything about computer animation, you know that you create keyframes and then during the splining stage, which is like the final stage for computer animation, the computer interpolates the motion between the keyframes. Now, if you leave it at that and leave the computer to do all the interpolation, it's going to look very fake. It's not going to have any life to it. So a lot of amateurs or beginners, when they do animation, they don't really play with the curves enough, and the motion kind of seems like it's just going from one place to another, from one pose to another. There's no overlap. There's no kind of thought or life behind the animation. So that's one thing that kind of immediately gives away that this guy is a beginner. Another thing that gives it away is using a lot of cliche shots, like a guy lifting something heavy or a guy pushing something or a walk cycle, anything that you kind of see in every like basic demo reel. So to kind of make yours stick out, I would try to do something that's not so common so that it doesn't look like it's just your first demo reel ever right out of school. All right, guys, thanks for watching Ask Bloop. To send your questions, go to Twitter and use the hashtag AskBloop and send whatever question you want to ask me. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website at bloopanimation.com.